Why don't you just invest directly in Bitcoin and forget the Bitcoin miners? All right, welcome to Talking Investing. I am Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. Today, I have a new Bitcoin mining chart that I want to go through and look at things a little bit differently. In addition to that, I want to talk about where the equity markets closed on Friday and take a look at what Bitcoin's done over the weekend. So, awful lot to go through. If you're new to the channel, please remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Also, if everybody could keep smashing the like button, I appreciate it. It's helping out the channel a lot. Lastly, if you want to support the channel and get some additional content, we do have a members section, so you can hit the join button on the YouTube page. That will give you access to some additional content, and we also do a live stream for members only once a week, every Tuesday after the market closes. This is a request from one of the members, so it's information I basically had compiled, so I just wanted to get this out right away because when he mentioned it, I thought it was a very good idea, and it's good information, and it's just another different way of looking at this data to try to figure out what's going on. Okay, so for starters, the S&P was down 2.37% on Friday. The Dow was down 1.34%. So the Dow is usually the least volatile, and as always on Friday, it was the least volatile. The NASDAQ is typically the most volatile, and it was down over 3% on Friday. The Russell 2000 was down 2.66%. So essentially, on Thursday, we got CPI data. It was a little bit worse than expected, but I did a separate video on this. I think it was actually basically exactly what we expected. So there was a knee-jerk reaction to the downside. All of the indexes hit a new low, a new 52-week low. However, there was a massive reversal on Thursday, and everything ended up in the green big time, up 2 or 3%. So you can see, essentially what we did on Friday is just give all of that back and end up almost right where we started. So it seems like the market doesn't quite know what to do with the CPI data. This is the QQQs, which mirror the NASDAQ. So this is where we closed on Wednesday before the CPI. So you can see Thursday, we started out going down big time, and we spent the rest of the day moving up. So we actually ended up with a gigantic green candle, and we were way off of this low, but you can see now, on Friday, we gave it all back, and we really actually ended up a little bit lower than we were on Wednesday. So this is pretty much what happened. Very volatile, but ultimately very sideways. But what I want to show you is while the stock market was freaking out and doing all of that, Bitcoin has been steady as a rock. So I'm going to start out on the one-day time frame, and then I'm going to take a close look as to what's happened over the weekend on a smaller scale. But what I want to show you is we had a move down on September 6th. So that was over a month ago, and we crossed this green line. We had a daily candle close below that, and we are still sitting right here at basically the exact same spot. So we are in a very, very tight trading range. We did have 2 run-ups. So we had a little 1-week rally in the middle where we ran up. We ran right straight back down to the green line, and then we, to a lesser extent, last week we had a 2-day rally where we ran up a little bit, but again, pulled right back to where we started. So this has been very, very sideways activity. I'm going to go to the 15-minute time frame because this sideways activity has taken it to a new level over this weekend. We're moving in slow motion this weekend. This is one of the least volatile couple of days I've ever seen in Bitcoin. Okay, so this is Bitcoin on the 15-minute time frame. As always, there's an orange line where Bitcoin was when the market closed on Friday, which was the last day it was open. So this gives us all weekend. So you'll see we closed Friday. Bitcoin was at 19,165. Bitcoin's currently at 19,136. We're $30 away from where we were at the close on Friday. Most of the activity has been inside of this range, so we are unbelievably tight range. We're plus or minus $50 of where we closed on Friday for the vast majority of the last 2 days. This is a reinforcement of my point from yesterday's video. Bitcoin has been very strong in my opinion. Yes, it is sideways. We are not in a bull run. The market is struggling mightily. Friday was a disaster day for the market across the board, but Bitcoin has been very, very steady. And here it still sits right within just striking distance of this green line, which is at just around 19,200. Now, it does look like we might be starting to run into this as resistance. So that is going to be the next important thing. Can we jump back above this green line and start heading up on this rally that I've been forever waiting for that may or may not ever occur here? So the first thing I'm looking for is we got to get back above that green line, and we got to test that green line, and it needs to turn into support because right now it looks an awful lot like resistance. Having said that, we are incredibly close, and 19,000 has been holding as support very, very strong. So we're definitely in a sideways situation here, and we're going to have to see which way we go because something is going to to break. We're going to have a break to the upside or the downside. The market has broken to the downside several times in this period of time where Bitcoin has held on strong. I want to get to the Bitcoin miner analysis that I was talking about. I have a new analysis that I have not shown before on the channel. I want to go through that, and it kind of works in tandem with one of the other analysis that we've been looking at recently. Okay, so I went through this chart yesterday, so if you did not see this, you can check out yesterday's video. But I want to look at this the other way. I had a viewer request in a comment, and I think it makes a lot of sense to do this. So I put this chart together to go in tandem with the chart you're looking at right now. So this chart right here essentially measures from the August highs to the close on Friday. The very best performing thing over the last 60 days essentially has been Bitcoin, which is down 24%. But I want to show you something. It's down 24%, but most of that was in the first 10 or 12 days. Bitcoin's only down about 3% over the last month and a half. But this just goes to show the strength that Bitcoin has had during one of the most difficult times in the market. September was an awful month, but Bitcoin really held in there and was basically sideways for the entire month. So what I'm hoping is we're getting a very long period of consolidation here, I guess is my point. My main reason to show this chart is I want to show everybody, obviously, if you've been investing in Bitcoin miners, and if you watch this channel, you probably have been investing or at least paying close attention. The Bitcoin miners have gotten destroyed in the last 2 months. They're down somewhere between a half and 3/4 from where they were at their August highs. So these are massive, massive pullbacks. Even the best performing Bitcoin miners are down essentially double what Bitcoin is down. So I want to show this for a reason. First of all, it can help put things into perspective as to which stocks are performing better or worse. But the number one thing that I take away from this is this demonstrates that the Bitcoin miners are a leveraged play on Bitcoin. So one of the main questions I get over and over and over is, why don't you just invest directly in Bitcoin and forget the Bitcoin miners? And I understand that mentality. There's actually less risk in that. But as is typically the case, when there's less risk, there's less reward. The Bitcoin miners are a leveraged play. So as Bitcoin goes down, the Bitcoin miners go down worse. However, we have seen, if we can remember as far back, the first half of the year 2021, we learned that as Bitcoin goes up, the Bitcoin miners are a leverage play and go up significantly more than Bitcoin. Just as an example, you can see Marathon was trading at around $1. It was actually less than $1 on May 1st, 2020. Marathon was 70 cents. Just 5 months later, it was at $48. So that's more than a 50x in 5 months. So this is what will happen if Bitcoin ever gets healthy again and has a run to the upside. So we are living in the exact opposite world of this. But the answer to the question of why do I invest in the Bitcoin miners, and again, this is not financial advice. I'm not telling anybody to invest in any miner in particular or in the miners in general. You need to know your own risk tolerance, because we are living the risk side of the risk-reward equation right now, and it is painful. But this move that we saw in Marathon, these types of moves are what could potentially happen again over the next 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years if Bitcoin can have that next giant run up. So if we have one more Bitcoin bull market, these are the types of gains that we have had in previous Bitcoin bull markets for the Bitcoin miners. So it's important to keep in perspective as we look at this chart right here, which is just a sea of red. You'll notice that for the most part, this chart is very similar in order to the other chart we looked at. And you can really see how some of these stocks, if you're somebody who likes Stronghold or Gree, Stronghold's down 75% from August. Gree is down 78% from August. All of these miners are down 50% or more, with a handful of exceptions, and even those are very close to down 50%. So the miners are somewhere between double and triple what Bitcoin is doing. But this is why I dollar cost average in. And again, I'm not telling you to do this. I'm just telling you why I do this. For the companies whose story has not changed, that I have conviction in, there's a bull market out there somewhere in the next, whether it's 6 months, 2 years, 5 years. To me, it doesn't matter. If these companies can make it through, they're going to participate in that bull run. And we just saw, we're looking at what happens in the bear market. And I just showed you what happened to Marathon in the bull market. And that is not an isolated case. The same thing happened to Riot. In fact, I think Riot pulled more like a 70x in that same period of time. So I'm going to leave you with those thoughts. I just wanted to get this chart out to everybody because it does give the other side of the picture to this chart that we've been looking at, measuring off of the lows from this summer. So now I will keep updating these charts, measuring from the lows from this summer and then again measuring from the local highs back in August from this summer. So we'll look at both sides of the coin. So that's all I got for you. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, please remember to subscribe to the channel and smash the like button. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.